So the ever credible Ross Young gives us new details regarding future iPads, including the mysterious LCD 14-inch iPad that's in the works, OLED iPad Pros, and also under-display cameras and sensors, and so let's delve into it. So let's first begin with the 14-inch iPads, and this was a very confusing report because Ross believed a 14-inch iPad was in the works that would not get promotion or even mini LEDs, so this was basically going to be a bigger version of the Air. Now this made no sense to me because why would the bigger version of the mid-range iPads be larger than the biggest version of the Pro? Because surely the most expensive iPads should also be the biggest version available, so this report really made no sense. Like, I'm sure the target demographic for the 14-inch iPads are those who do artwork and would appreciate mini LED promotion and the best display tech for an iPad. And so this being the bigger version of the iPad Air really did confuse me. Now this is where I thought that there was a chance this could be a 14-inch MacBook Pro instead, because Ross Young only gets information on the raw data and the panels, not the actual device. And so much like he's made mistakes in the past, I did think that maybe he was mistaking this for an iPad when it could be a Mac. However, iCave Dave made a good point, and that is the aspect ratio with iPads and Macs are different, and so I guess Ross believes this could be an iPad based on the aspect ratio, so of course that does cancel out the possibility of this being a new Mac. And yeah, basically Ross doubles down on this being an iPad in this new report, though he does mention he's going to further verify this through other sources and then confirm this, because yeah, I do still doubt this 14-inch iPad Air is going to materialize. Anyways, let's move on to some display leaks that actually make sense, and that's regarding the OLED iPad Pros. So of course we've heard about this for quite some time, but yes, we're going to see OLED panels with the iPad Pros in 2024 that use dual stack displays that give you twice the brightness and 4 times the longevity compared to, of course, the mini LED panels we have now with the iPads. But basically Ross says that because we're going to get this, Apple has no plans to give us mini LED with the 11-inch size, and that's going to remain exclusive to the 12.9-inch size with the M2 iPads. And while that does kind of suck because the M1 iPad Air and the 11-inch Pro are very similar, so of course giving this the mini LED tech would have set it apart, but of course with the mini LED shortages and the fact we're getting OLEDs relatively soon with the iPad Pros, I can understand why Apple might do this. And for those wondering why Apple's ditching mini LED so quick, I do think it's going to stay around with the cheaper iPads, since this would be a massive improvement over LCD, so of course giving it to the Air, the Mini, and eventually the budget iPads would be pretty nice. Anyways, for the final tidbit, Ross Young tells us Apple is considering giving us under-display TrueDepth sensors for the iPad first. So of course this has been a rumour for the iPhone for years, and we should eventually see this, but Apple allegedly might give it to the iPad first because number one, they produce less iPads, and so this would be easier to produce, but also it might be easier to introduce this tech with a display that has a lower PPI, since I believe the TrueDepth sensors that go under the display shine light between the pixels, and so for this to work effectively well, of course, having a lower PPI would be great, and so I can see Apple giving us this with the iPads. Though I would not be surprised if we don't see this anytime soon, because ultimately the bezels do serve a purpose, and so there's no real rush to reduce them with the iPads and make these iPads much harder to hold. So yes, for the time being I don't think this is happening, though of course when we do see bigger screens, I'm sure thinner bezels would help decrease the physical volume of this device. By the way, Ross does mention the main limiting factor with the iPhone folds or the iPhone/iPad hybrids is the lack of a cover glass that meets Apple's requirements. And this makes sense because as great as the Samsung Fold is, there are still reliability issues and issues with the form factor, so of course Apple's definitely not going to rush into market with this foldable device. However, Ross does say the iPad/MacBook hybrids could be easier to produce, though personally I could care less about this device. I'm more excited for the iPhone/iPad hybrids. Something that gives you the iPad experience in a portable form factor sounds great, and so yes, I'm praying we do see this materialize pretty soon. Anyways, let's delve into your comments regarding future iPads. So Sheriff Q says, only reason I would upgrade is if they make the display better, and he's also hoping we see 4K tablets. That would be great. Now, to be honest, I don't think we need a resolution upgrade, and mini LED's already pretty great, but I can understand if you're waiting for iPads with OLED, since that could be a pretty major improvement. And obviously with OLED, there is the possibility that the displays could be larger, so yes, I'm looking forward to that. I'm very much ready for a 14-inch or 15-inch iPad. Anyways, Flame says, will the notch on the iPad be a problem while drawing? Now, I don't think that's going to be the case, purely because the notch is going to be tiny on a 14-inch or even the 11-inch. And so I do think for the most part, you'll forget it's there if it does come to the iPad. Though again, like I said in a previous video, I do hope Apple does not bring over the notch to the iPad. The bezel situation with the iPad is already perfect, and so there's no need to give us a notch and decrease the bezels even further, because unlike the Mac and the iPhone, the bezels do serve a purpose, they help you hold the iPads, and so yes, please Apple, do not give us a notch. So one CTF says, I have the M1 iPad Pro, still unsure if I'll sell this and get the M2 version. And personally, I don't think it's going to be worth upgrading to the M2 version because, let's begin with the performance. M1's already more than enough for most consumers, and of course, as we've seen with the Max, M2's a very small improvement, and so you're not going to get major performance gains. And as for the other upgrades, MagSafe and reverse wireless charging are nice, but I don't think they're going to be must-have features, and the camera upgrades we've heard about are definitely pointless. So yeah, personally, I think you're better waiting for the iPads with the OLED displays. Those are going to be quite an upgrade with the new panels, and so I think in that case, the upgrade's justified. Anyways, tell me your thoughts regarding these reports in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video above on details regarding the iPhone SE 4, and on that note, see ya peeps.